Okay, it was nothing. He was just starting some group hospital chat, so it could be updated what was going on with him, but you're not supposed to talk on it. But it's just so you can go in and see, I guess, so then, he doesn't have to respond to people or whatever. So, anyways, he's definitely not going to try anything I say. He just was talking about his appointment when it's scheduled. You know what's kind of funny? I don't even know if I can say this without sounding the way I mean it, but it kind of feels like people enjoy having a diagnosis. Like even if I go out and I say something, well, I'm going blind, then it gets you attention right away. People want to talk to, oh, what happened? Why are you going blind or whatever. So anytime you have any sickness, you get that response from people. It gives you some kind of like immediate little charge of attention or something. And most people feel so isolated and unseen and what is the word? Because most people just feel like they're misunderstood and unseen, and but it's because everybody's trying to fit in instead of just being themselves. So they feel like nobody really knows them or sees them, but they don't realize it's them not showing themselves. But so when someone has a sickness or a diagnosis or whatever, then a lot of people want to talk to you about it, and you get to find out, like, kind of like, a lot of people do care about me. A lot of people are interested in what's going on with me. But it's weird because there's something about sickness and our ability to see ourselves through sickness, through someone else's eyes or something. There's something strange about it. And I've been noticing it for a long time, but a lot of people really enjoy being sick. Like I saw that in the hospital. Like people want to go in the hospital. They want to be sick. They want people to come in and, bring them flowers and tell them that they care about them and stuff like that. The only reason that somebody would want that is because they don't feel recognized or loved or cared about. They feel, it develops the whole sickness. Munchausen is all about that. Munchausen, even some of them, I believe they will make themselves sick, but the Munchausen by proxy, they'll make someone else sick, and they're the caregiver, which is typically their child, so that they'll make their child sick so that they can go around and get attention for their sick child. And some people have gone so extreme. That one gypsy, Rose, she didn't even, I think she was in a wheelchair and thought she couldn't walk or something. Like every time she would stand up, her mom would tell her, sit back down, you're going to hurt yourself, there's so much manipulation of somebody's mind and the desperation to have attention over sickness. I'm not saying that because, I think that's what my brother's doing. I think that most people who are sick would prefer to be healthy and not be sick at all. But it just made me think about it because, it is true. Like when I worked in the ER, like sometimes somebody would come in and I swear to God, every single person they knew, everyone in their family would show up. And sometimes they'd only be there for a few hours. And everybody shows up though. And in the hospital rooms too. And when you work at a hospital, you start getting a lot of older, bitter people who kind of rely on that. Like if I think about, if I just stayed home all the time, which I do, but if I just stayed home and was lonely and was sad, and then I got sick and I went in the hospital and everybody came to see me, then what would I want to have happen again? Like, it would be fun. Oh, if I get sick and I go to the hospital, everybody will come visit me. Nobody comes to visit me when I'm at home doing fine. If I get sick, everybody comes to visit me. See what I'm saying? So, and some people, they want to be sick. They want to. My mom has friends that she said, like at luncheon, they'll pull out all their pills and put them on the table, like, oh, I got to take this one at this time and all this stuff. because, people just want to talk about their health, I guess, but to show, and is it kind of a virtue signaling? Look at how great a person I am. I take pills. I'm sure for some people it is a little bit of that. But, some people just want you to talk about their health, or some people just want to, show you what they have to go through on a daily basis. I mean, when I had stopped taking pills, I was taking 18, but I have heard of people taking like 50 or 60 pills a day. So, you can and think about the price of those. It's big business. I mean, there's a reason why they want to keep us sick all the time. They make so much money off of it. And it's just so crazy, is because I feel like since I was a kid and I had the other experience, I was thinking about this morning with technology, and I was thinking about something with the phone or trying to do something. And, technology for someone my age is very frustrating. And then you talk to somebody who is younger, who is raised on it or used to it or whatever, and you're just like, hey, I'm not tech savvy. You got to show me. I don't get what the hell this is all about. And, a lot of them will kind of make fun of you, or, make it a joke or something, like you have some sort of incompetence because you don't understand this technology. And so I was thinking about it this morning. I was thinking it's so crazy because, well, you've been understanding technology. I've been developing my creativity, my skills, my insights. Like, there's so much more of you that develops without the screen that actually is sucking your more of your natural brain's abilities into the virtual world. And so it's just weird because it's so backwards, that they think it's weird that we don't understand all this stuff because they're so used to it. But I don't understand their not wanting to go and create and have adventures and be outdoors and play and stuff. Like, I don't get that. And I feel like it's so fortunate I came from the generation that we were still having those experiences. But, it definitely is kind of this in between to see what's happening with these people, because they have no concept of what life was like when I was a kid. I can see what their life's like. I haven't gone through the experience from a child's perspective, but I've gone through it as a perspective, as a mother's perspective with children. Like, I have seen how it is, and it's especially, I don't think it affected my kids as much as my grandkids. Now, seeing my grandkids, but it's even the ones after them, that is what's really blowing my mind. Especially like with the neighbor, when I went over to watch him that day, and I, like a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and it's just like, oh, they'll just be on their devices. And it's just like zombie land. And then when the 2-year-old, when hers stopped working, it was like, what? She started like, ah, like it reminds me of the cartoons when all the springs start flying out of their brain. That's what it kind of happened to her. It's like she started shorting out, like, my mind needs a screen. I need to be stimulated. Show me a stimulation. They don't know how to stimulate it for themselves. They don't know how to process. They don't know how to use their minds. They're making their brains dependent on a screen to entertain, to stimulate, to process. It doesn't work. It's kind of like, when I was a kid and people were born retarded, they were born with some sort of retardation, something that made them slower in some aspect of their life. If it was their thinking, if it was their movement or whatever, it was a retardation. It was just slower than the rest of us. That word's been so, made so different than what it was when I was growing up. So, but that was all natural and organic. I mean, supposedly, like how much of it really was from chemicals and toxins, even then. Because, I mean, now that we're understanding more about our history, we understand, like, we are really, like, I feel like we are in a time capsule or something. I feel so much like We Are, that show on Netflix, where it had it kept showing this whole like city or something. I don't know what else to call it, but it was really a satellite city. They were all living in like a satellite or a giant mothership. It was some giant ship that was just like a city inside, where everybody lived. And they were told that the Earth had, I don't remember if it blew up, whatever, a catastrophic event happened, and you couldn't live on the Earth anymore. So they all had to be shuttled into this satellite dish thing. I just got a weird thing about that. Oh, weird. Any of this stuff you look at it the other way. That is so trippy. So they took these kids in the satellite, and they took the people and they put them in this satellite mothership thing and put them out in space. And the people had been out there for their whole lives. And I don't remember how long they had been out there, but it seems like it was like 50 years, or I don't know. But this was these people's lives, and they were told that they couldn't come back to Earth. And they were always looking for, I think, somewhere to land or some place to go and live or something. I don't remember every little detail of the show. But what I do remember is that it was like a stage when it showed that there was people watching them from like a viewing center or something in a warehouse. In their ship was actually in a warehouse. It wasn't out in space at all. And these people thought they were in space, but they were really being watched as an experiment by like the CIA, who was watching all of this. And the thing that had just popped into my head when I was talking about it was, remember when I was talking about the event and the solar event, and how it has been said that there's going to be ships coming down to take people off planet so that the vibration can raise. All of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, so they could get taken off planet and then just get lied to, completely change their reality into something else, which they wouldn't know, because that is part of the whole thing, is they won't know wherever it is they were going. But I just thought, how strange if it was that they just took a whole ship of people, put them out in space, and just, oh, there was a cataclysm, now you're just stuck out here in space, and kept that experiment going for however long. Because, I mean, I think kind of like right now, that cow thing, I think, was really like a warning shot to show, hey, we can take you all out right now. Hey, no problem. We can take all these cows down right here overnight. And I know they do a lot of spraying overnight. So many people have talked about that. The plane's going over at night. So, and I think probably they spray more toxin. I still think that they spray something, sometimes to make us go to sleep, to create anxiety, to make us melancholy. Like they spray us like chemicals. Like we are just giant lab rat cages to them. And so, and they could take us out all at one time, at one night. Like they probably would be a little scared. Then what are they going to have left? Just all of them and their lab created people. But they want to just keep the most compliant people. But the most compliant people will be killed off. So it's like they want people who think for themselves, but not to the point that they would argue. Like, I don't know. It is weird, because it must just be kind of like a group, like all different. Like right now they can keep the pharmaceuticals, the guns. I bet you they own all the gun shops, I swear to God. And all the ammo shops. I bet they own them all. And so they keep that going. They keep all of the food crisis going. They've got a constant chaos with the education, so much chaos with the government. Like, where is it that there is not just complete chaos in the system. Everything in the system is just completely falling apart. Like there's nothing that is being held together. So to me, I feel like, we don't really have anywhere we could go. Like when I was driving through those forests and I was seeing they've already sprayed this one, they're going to burn this one down for sure. They already burned down the other one. These are giant national forests. And so they're going to burn down the other one. And keep this in mind too. When they say that that everything's so dry, it's burning it up. They're talking about Northern California and Washington and Oregon, where everything is just wet. Like my ground never dries. Even if the topsoil is dry, then inside, you just dig down a little bit, it is wet. And when you walk on the soil, it's spongy. It is not solid surface like concrete. It's very spongy. So, there's a lot of moisture. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense for things to just go up like tinder. But when I drove past and I saw, oh, well, all of those trees right there, they're all just like a bunch of dead Christmas trees that are turned orange, all scattered through the whole forest. So those will catch easy when they come in with their drone shooting fire, whatever their fire shooting drone thing. And then when that shoots out, starts those ones, then those will go up and they'll do it on, they'll create the whole windstorm and stuff. But so anyways, if we're trying to escape and go and you head for the mountains, like they've got no problem trapping a bunch of people up there and burning them up. They don't give a shit. So then I was like, man, you can't go that direction. Like, I don't really know where you can go. You go out in the desert, you can't really hide. But in the forest, obviously, we can't hide because they're going to burn us out. So I don't know. It seems like I just really don't know. It just, for there to be any place that is where you could just go is ultimately safe place to be. It doesn't seem like there is. Like, it just seems like no matter what, our souls right now are going through an experience to feel this powerless, to feel it's this much out of our control, because then we have to turn inside. Like, what does it all mean? What is going to happen? What am I supposed to do? And when you turn inside, that's when you start getting answers, and everybody's answers are going to be so different from everybody else's, because lots of us are here on mission. We're here to change the world. Like, we're here for changing the whole damn world. And so I don't have fear like some of the other people who are really fearful. And I was just worked through that so I could get to this place where I am right now. But all of the people who have to work through that, really face their fears, that's all coming to the surface so that they can face their fears and conquer them. And because that is how you move forward and get through things, is to face them head on. And we've just been so accustomed to not. I mean, everything that there is here has somehow been turned into some sort of coping skill, addiction, everything, because we're so out of balance. We can't, the whole social structure shows how out of balance each individual is, because it's micro, macro, it's all representative of self. So everything represents what it is. It's so much like everything is like that, when they show that hand tracking, whenever they show like someone on drugs or acid or something, and they show moving their hand and there's like tons and tons of hands, that is the connection of every single thing. And so the macro would be the closest, the micro would be the furthest. So everything is all shades of everything, if you understand what I'm saying. Like anything that you start thinking about, it will demonstrate the whole, the whole, I don't know if that word makes sense. The whole aspect, the whole power, the whole way that something goes. It all is that connected. It's all a progression. It's all a movement. It's nothing is just one thing. All things are connected to all things, and all things are a movement and pattern. And so all of our things that go on in our own self is represented in the whole entire collective. So it's all there for you to understand and see. And then every single person all has issues, you know. Like, how much time did we all go around thinking we were the only one that had issues? We were the one, like, oh, if anybody knew how crazy I was, you know, we all felt like that. Now it's coming out like, oh, you know, everybody felt like they were in the wrong place. Everybody felt like they were being judged and something was wrong with them and stuff. Like, that's how we were all feeling. But we were all so busy trying to fit into their world that they were creating, telling us, no, if you're a normal person does this, a normal person does that. A crazy person goes to mental institutes and stuff. Like, all of that stuff is all programming. It's all to control us, because who's going to go out and talk about the crazy shit that they think about when they're scared to death they're going to get put into a hospital for crazy people? But the more we open up and we start talking to each other and find out the crazy shit we all think, then we start seeing more of the truth, because then everything in this world is not the truth. Everything in this world is controlled to keep us away from the truth. But when everybody comes in and starts sharing their truth, then you start seeing really how big this entire it's not even just a reality. It's like, it's not even just a solar system. It's like all things, everything, all of it is connected. Everything is a part of the same thing. Everything is that movement. Everything is in movement. And so, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm making any sense, but you know, I can see it and I can understand it. It's just really hard to explain some of the stuff, but everything has to do with how you focus and what energy, what intention, what manifestation, how you use the energy to create your reality that you focus on. And but anybody who would be talking about other things, if we're talking deep things, not shallow things like, oh, how's the weather over there? You know, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when people talk about what's really inside of them, how they really feel, what really, you know, what really comes into their mind when we really talk about real stuff. Then we start to see that it's so much bigger. How we feel and think and see is so much broader. They just want to keep us small and narrow and closed-minded, because then we're easily controlled. Fear, easily controlled. I mean, how all these people who are scared to death about what are they going to do about the food and stuff, and even if they came in and sprayed us all overnight, it won't do anything. We'll just walk right out of this body and just keep on going. They don't do anything to really hurt us. It's all an illusion. And it's frustrating because a lot of us are trying to make our lives and, you know, live our lives and enjoy our lives. And it's very frustrating for someone to keep interrupting it and interrupting it and interrupting it. And, but, you know, this is all part of this transition, because this is how vital it is that the reality that they created for us to exist in is ending. It has to end. That is the whole way to start a new reality. This one has to end. And it's, you know, it's very crashing. When I said, like, it was an intersection where it was all crashing, it is like that. And, you know, it isn't even like they fully disclose everything. Like, they come out and say, it's kind of like as we awaken, our souls kind of just show us and, you know, bring us the information that we need. And that is, it just is like explosion of knowledge, when you connect in your insights, your downloads, whatever you want to call it. But then you really start to see, like, you don't have to have like disclosure. You don't have to have all of the proof and see. Like, I don't even go in and there's so many people who feel very much like they got to share the proof. They got to show because, well, I saw it on Twitter all the time, but that was a couple of years ago now. But where people, well, you show me the proof, show me the article, show me your resource and stuff like that. After, showing people and showing people, if they don't go and they don't find their resources, find the links, then you could share all day long and they're still, no. So I'm just like, no, go look for yourself. I'll just tell you, something's out there, go look. If you don't want to look, don't look. You want to sit in the dark and, run to the person who's trying to poison you, run to them and ask for the cure, then, that's what you're here to learn about. That's your lessons that you get to witness in yourself. And that's why I said a lot of this stuff is going to be super painful for the people who do wake up. The people who just die off, I think that they would see in their review the whole thing. Because the whole thing is to learn, and it's about learning sovereignty and your own empowerment and stuff like that. So I think that, I'm going off on too many different things, I feel like. But anyways, this world doesn't even exist, but it is the power you give it. You create its existence with the power you give it. When you stop giving it your power, you stop giving it your energy, and you start giving it to something else, that's created. And this world has to end. And it's ending by all of us realizing. And, there is people who do share a lot of evidence, but I don't think that we need to see all the evidence. I don't go through and read all the evidence. I know it. It's like they show me in a way that I see it and I know it. Like, I don't know how to explain it to other people, because even when I was talking to, there's just a lot of people when I talk to them and they don't understand when someone's talking in your head and telling you things all the time and showing you things. Like, they think like I sound crazy because I think my thoughts are talking to me. And I think they sound like they aren't in tune. They haven't fine-tuned what's going on in here, because here is a processor. And so you're processing information. You're being given information. And like I said before, always to me is when you start asking questions and your questions are being answered. Like, are you answering your own questions? Like, your brain's that great? Like, you can come up with questions and you answer them for yourself. And then also, when they tell me where things are. They tell me to pick up this, get that. I'm going to use it in a minute. And there's constant communication. I'm not doing this with myself. I'm not just, it may feel like I'm talking to myself, but I know I'm not. I know I'm talking to other people because I have an awareness of my own thoughts. I can tell when I'm just thinking about something and, or when I'm being given information. So to me, it's everybody else isn't recognizing the communication going on in themselves. I don't think like I have some special gift that nobody else has. Like I can hear them talking, but nobody else can. I think it's just other people aren't listening. Other people aren't paying attention. They think a thought just comes in and they just say, oh, I'm so smart. I just thought of this thing. They're not acknowledging that someone just gave you that thought. Someone just put that in your mind and they put it in there because there was a reason. There was a reason besides you just getting an ego. They wanted you to acknowledge it, to look at it, they're trying to tell you something. So anyways, I completely know there's people talking all the time. I've known it for my whole life, ever since as far back as I can remember. having conversations with people who are not there, listening to them tell me things and show me things. And, the stuff is real, and it's more than just an article. Like, they show you so much more than that. And I think everybody has this ability. It is, to me, it is an acknowledgement. Start acknowledging that there's people around you talking to you. Acknowledge your ancestors, acknowledge your guides, acknowledge your higher self, and start communicating. Start asking them questions, asking them to show you things. Start participating with them. And you'll see a whole relationship develops. And I don't know, it just kind of weirds me out, because even my daughters will sit there and say, well, the one daughter, she was always like, there is no one talking to you. It's just your thoughts. Like, it's not my thoughts. How am I, like, if you think that, then you just have not had the experience at all. Then you don't even know at all what I'm talking about. But then I was talking to my other daughter, because I was like, what weirds me out? I'm always trying to figure out, like, how do other people think? Like, what is going on in there? Like, how are people perceiving? And I know every single person is so unique and so different. How they're processing, how they're perceiving, what they're looking at, the whole thing. So there's no real way to understand everybody. But it's kind of weird is, like, how do you think? How do you know what to pay attention? Like, there's just so many things. There's so many questions I have. It's really been a really trippy thing to me, because I really, really thought that we were all communicating with the other side like the same as I am. Like, I thought that we all had this awareness that somebody was talking to us, guiding us, and telling us what to do. But it's not like that. A lot of people don't think that at all. They think that they are just, a person, a flesh and blood person. A lot of them think they're on a globe and spinning out in space. But they think that they are a flesh and blood person that is, just like an accident, just a fluke. And then they use their brains to think, and then they fill them with knowledge by reading or getting someone else's information so that they can regurgitate it later to call themselves knowledgeable or smart. But really, like, all the information is around you. You don't have to go out and read reading books can be enjoyable, if you can see. But reading books can be enjoyable and stuff, but you don't have to have all of that stuff. You have beings around you that tell you things. Like, you can tap into universal knowledge. You can tap into information that you don't have without having to go look stuff up in a book. I mean, I don't know. All I know is that I'm living a very different life than a lot of other people. It's really trippy. But that shows again, too, how different all of our realities are, and what we're all going through, and what we're all experiencing, and what we're all here for, and what we are here to experience. And, you can't just force somebody to see stuff and, make a change and do something. You have to allow them to just figure it out for themselves. And, it's a slow process. And I'm kind of, it's just so weird, because in the beginning of this, I thought it was going to go so fast. Like, I really thought I was only going to be doing this recording and stuff. Yesterday, my daughter everybody starts talking to me, like in my family or something, and I just right away start talking like I talk like this, and my daughter's like, okay, please put away your podcast personality so I can actually talk to you. It's like, I'm not trying to do that. It just is like, I don't know, it kind of like just slips in there. Like, you just, I don't know. I'm just becoming something different. I just know I'm here on a mission or whatever. Now I forgot what I was going to say before I said that she had said that, but I thought it was really funny. But because how I'm coming across to other people who, my kids and stuff, like, oh, as soon as you start talking about, spirituality, then anything, and I can turn anything you talk about almost into something spiritual. So I drive my kids crazy. But it was, so I really thought that this was going to be over with really, really quick. Now I have such a different attitude. Now I think this is really going to be slow, like just as slow as it has been for leading up to this whole thing, which I don't know, something's going to turn us in the other direction. Like, I don't know. I think that's going to be abrupt. I think the turning in the other direction is going to be really abrupt, and it's going to be really shocking to a lot of people. But then that part is going to be slow, I think. I think it's going to be really slow, just like this has been with people having to try and understand, like, and the depth of everything. Because, like, so many of the people who are awake there's lots of Christians awake. Well, they're awake to the government is out to murder you, but they aren't awake to the fact that they created this book that you've dedicated your damn life to. So there's just, I think that it's so multi-level. And then plus we're going to go into the whole thing of seeing about arrests and about trials, and there's going to be so much outrage. I can't even believe it. Like, you bring up something about the stuff with kids and people are, oh, that's not real. Oh, it's real. Well, if that's real, people just can't even, like, there is going to be so much outrage because even a lot of people who are awake still don't know the depth of the depravity that we've been living in, and how, any of us who are alive, really, it's fortunate because this world is out to kill us all. So anyways, I just keep talking and talking, but I will talk to you later. We'll see how this day goes. I feel hopeful every day. You see this Twilight Zone artificial world out here with white sky. So it's Twilight Zone life. Oh, and I'll just do this real quick. Is, while I was gone, I had said those construction guys back there that they were playing all this loud patriot music and a lot of rap and loud and stuff like that. I was like, ooh, they don't know where they're at. They think like people are probably all about it. Not out here where I'm at. This is red zone, dude. And so while I was gone, apparently, because when I was coming back, the neighbors said she turned in a noise complaint on them to the HOA. And so now they're being super, super quiet. But they were working all night long. She said, I think they're doing shifts and they just work 24 hours, just nonstop. But they will have the music up loud in the middle of the night and lights. Even if in my bedroom, I don't hear them, but I sleep with the fan on and stuff. So I don't hear the noise, and I'm not sure. I can't imagine someone has their windows open yet. God damn, it's cold. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because her window, like, that's her neighbor right behind her. But I knew that music, like, oh, you're pushing the wrong buttons over here, boys. So yeah, now they're being super quiet. I don't know how much longer, but yeah, I knew that was coming. Luckily, they just got that complaint, because it wouldn't surprise me if somebody went over there with their, weapons to confront them. Like, I'm not even kidding you. This is deep red zone. Even my one neighbor who keeps talking to me and sending me stuff, it's like so 1999. And it's really so 2020, like, people are just waking up to stuff like we've been talking about this stuff for a couple of years. So anyways, I think it's just going to be slow. That's all we can do. Just, this is for our challenge is about patience, faith, trust, and, giving people respect, even when, you're seeing them being so slow and tedious to acknowledge the fact that they're being killed. And it's like they'd rather sit there somewhere safe, even if they're being poisoned, than take a chance and go do something different. It's like, it's time to take a chance. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.